For centuries, humanity accepted the idea of a creator God based on what they did not understand, assuming that God must be the explanation for everything that could not be explained. But in reality, the more we learn about the cosmos and life, the more reasons we have to recognize that there is an author of the universe, a creator, an efficient cause, as St. Thomas Aquinas called it. Science affirms that the universe has not existed forever but had an origin. So something must have given rise to it. Something must have created matter when only nothingness existed. To understand what I'm talking about, I invite you to watch several documentaries on Netflix about what we know about the origin of the universe and life on Earth. One Strange Rock. The Most Unknown. The Beginning and End of the Universe. Life's Rocky Start and Inside Einstein's Mind. After watching these documentaries, you'll see that chance seems to be the least likely hypothesis to explain the origin of everything. These are some details that I find particularly astonishing and which I share below. The universe. Most scientists accept the idea that the universe originated 13.8 billion years ago in an event known as the Big Bang, thought to have been the expansion or decompression of a tiny particle, an incredibly dense and hot point smaller than an atom. Although the James Webb Space Telescope reveals facts that contradict this theory, it is still the most widely accepted in the scientific community. This decompression is often imagined as an explosion because all objects in the universe are moving away from each other in continuous expansion. There could be around 100 billion galaxies in the universe, and each galaxy could have an average of 1 billion stars, so it can be estimated that there are around 100 trillion stars in the observable universe. Each star could have an average of 8 planets. That would be 800 trillion planets in the universe. The observable universe is just a small part of the total universe. Our galaxy is the Milky Way and contains 300 billion stars. The center of the Milky Way can be seen from Earth. Our solar system is located in a privileged position in the Milky Way. If we were very close to the center, we would be subjected to a whirlwind of phenomena such as the birth of stars, intense gravitational forces, etc. And if we were near the edges, we would not have access to essential minerals for life on Earth. Only 6% of galaxies in the universe are spiral-shaped, like ours. And only spiral galaxies are capable of ensuring stable orbits of their stars and the planets around them. After seeing how vast the universe is, can anyone imagine the nothingness before the Big Bang? And it all came from the explosion of a particle smaller than an atom. Isn't that amazing? With the help of physics and science, we have been able to understand how it happened, but not why it happened. The Earth, the planet we inhabit, possesses a series of characteristics that enable life as we know it. When compared to other planets, it becomes evident that the key to life lies in the combination of certain elements and conditions. Firstly, the elements. Water, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen are essential for life as we know it. Initially, only nitrogen and carbon, the fourth most abundant element in the universe, existed. Although oxygen is the third most abundant element in the universe, there was no oxygen on Earth, nor was there water. For millions of years, the Earth was bombarded with water from the outside. Meteorites with frozen water rained down on Earth, and thus the water we have began to accumulate. At the same time, intense volcanic activity released enormous amounts of CO2, which produced a greenhouse effect that contributed to maintaining a stable warm temperature range, preventing the water from freezing as well as its complete evaporation. while at the same time creating an atmosphere dense enough for water in the form of clouds to not evaporate into space. But CO2 is soluble in water, and with rain, it fell into the oceans and sank to the seabed. Fortunately, plate tectonics allowed CO2 to be recycled to maintain it in the atmosphere, and it was not deposited on the seabed. More than 3 billion years ago, cyanobacteria appeared. These tiny organisms decomposed the water molecule to use hydrogen as food and released oxygen into the atmosphere. And so we gathered the four elements: water, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen. Parallel to this, the conditions were created that allowed for the development of life. By accident, an asteroid hit the Earth millions of years ago and gave it a 23.4-degree tilt, which allows for seasons and also contributed to maintaining stable temperature ranges for the development of life. Thanks to the gravitational force of the Moon, this angle has remained so for millions of years. On the other hand, the friction of the Earth's core rotating produces a magnetic field that acts as a kind of shield that protects us from solar radiation. The oxygen released by cyanobacteria formed the ozone layer that protects us from ultraviolet light. Only 2% of radiation reaches the Earth's surface thanks to the ozone layer. Finally, the Earth's rotation speed on its own axis, to alternate day and night, ensures that we are not overexposed to sunlight for too many hours, to the point of everything burning, nor too many hours of night, to the point of everything freezing. Day and night last just the right amount of time. And so we had the necessary conditions for life: stable temperatures and protection from solar radiation. But additionally, we have a bodyguard in space. The planet Jupiter is the right size to be our protective shield against meteorites. It is more than 1,300 times larger than Earth, with a mass and gravity so great that any object headed for Earth will be attracted to it. And it is far enough from Earth so that the gravity of its mass does not pull us towards it. Too many coincidences together. Our neighboring planets Venus and Mars are examples of how, without the coincidence of the necessary conditions and elements, life cannot flourish as it did on our planet. Both planets received water from the outside and had rivers, lakes, and seas, but in both it evaporated into space. Today they are sterile desert planets without life. We were able to see the physical origin of the universe and matter. It is not yet known why the Big Bang occurred, but the fact is that it did, just as the happy coincidence of elements and conditions on Earth occurred that allowed for the emergence of life. But now other questions arise. Where does life come from? How did we go from inert materials to living, animated beings? At the foundation of life are organic molecules based on carbon. Some of these molecules seem to have come from space, arriving through the impact of meteorites. Other molecules, on the other hand, seem to have formed here. Scientists have managed to create the conditions in the laboratory for, with the mixture of minerals, gases, water, and electricity, amino acids for the conformation of proteins, and RNA chains, predecessor of DNA, to be synthesized. The backbone of life is in DNA. It is a long chain of nitrogen molecules associated in pairs. The sequence in which these molecules are ordered in the chain expresses information about the cell that contains it, and from there, about every living being. A DNA molecule contains all the information about a person. It is estimated that between 3,800 and 3,500 million years ago, the first cells emerged, and with them, life begins. First, prokaryotic cells and unicellular organisms appear, such as bacteria. They do not have a nucleus and have a single, very simple circular DNA molecule. The cell is contained within a cell wall. 3 billion years ago, cyanobacteria produced their food, sugar, from three elements: water, carbon dioxide, and sunlight. As waste in the preparation of sugar, they released oxygen into the atmosphere. They are the first living beings to carry out the process of photosynthesis. Then other more complex cells appear, eukaryotes, beginning a process of changes that led to the development of more complex species, through processes of mutation or genetic recombination, and from whose domain four kingdoms are derived: fungi, plants, animals, and protists. Although we can physiologically explain how cells work at the basis of life, there are still questions to be answered. How did we go from inert and lifeless matter, such as molecules and atoms, to the first cells? What phenomenon in the universe drives the creation of DNA molecules and cells? Was the mere appearance of DNA enough? Does the presence of a DNA molecule mean that a cell will form around it? Why? Where did the sequence of genetic code of the first DNA molecules that appeared come from? If bacteria only have a small, very simple circular chain, how did the sequence of codes become increasingly complex for the evolution of living beings? Additionally, according to science, it is likely that there is life on other planets in such a vast universe, but it will surely not resemble life on Earth. Today, skeptics say that there are no miracles, and is the origin of life on Earth not a true miracle? The Bible begins by reminding us that God is the creator of all that exists. Let us remember that the Bible is a spiritual book, not a science textbook, and some details cannot be taken literally. For example, that creation took 6 days, so we should not take a day literally. God asks us to humbly admit that we do not have all the answers, and to recognize Him with faith as the origin of the universe and life. The heavens declare the glory of God, the firmament proclaims the works of His hands. Day unto day pours forth speech, night unto night whispers knowledge. There is no speech, no words. Their voice is not heard. A report goes forth through all the earth, their messages to the ends of the world.